your photo. Shall we start, madam?
Yes, sir. We can start.
So, good morning to one and all. It gives me immense pleasure to be with you at this August gathering. This is day 2, hours orientation and induction training program. It comes under faculty development program. It is being organized by Meenakshi Academy of Higher Education and Research, deemed to be university, and in the presence of our Chancellor, Thiru A.N. Radhakrishnan sir, and Rector Madam, Jayanti Radhakrishnan Madam, and in the again the presence of our Vice Chancellor and Registrar, we extend our warm greetings to you for this second session. Yesterday we had 4 sessions. Today we are going to have 4 sessions, 4 lectures, 11 to 12, 12 to 1, then 2 to 3, 3 to 4. And it is for your kind information that today in the first guest lecture, we are having in our midst Dr. S. Kalaivani, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Annamalai University, Annamalai Nagar. She has doctorate in education, and as you know very well, Annamalai University is one of the oldest universities in Tamil Nadu, and the Department of Education is one of the largest departments of education in Tamil Nadu. It is also a well-known and very popular department. Thousands and thousands of teachers have been coming out from that department at university. So Dr. Kalaivani is the pride of Annamalai University, pride of the Department of Education, as like our Sindhu in shuttle badminton in India. And also she has 16 years experience. That is the plus point, having 16 years experience. And she has a number of publications and sponsored projects. She published so many books. She attended so many conferences, webinars, seminars, national and international level. And also she organized so many conferences and symposia, and she has been awarded 5 titles in her career, and she visited abroad also once, and she is being with Lions Club of International and Women's Association, its extension of Lions Club. So such a great personality is with us. On behalf of you, we welcome Dr. S. Kalaivani, and she is going to present a topic on varieties of teaching methods in higher education. So once again, on behalf of you, we extend our warm greetings and welcome to Dr. S. Kalaivani. Madam, please.
Good morning to one and all. I am Kalaivani, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Annamalai University. I am here as a resource person to take varieties of teaching methods in higher education in this induction program. I am more thankful to Meenakshi Academy of Higher Education and Research for giving me this opportunity. I am more thankful to Professor Dr. R.S. Neelakandan, Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. C. Krithika, Registrar, Dr. Elangovan Sir, Organizing Secretary, for giving me this opportunity on this nice day. Thank you, sir. Sir, shall I go to session?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam. You please mute your. Okay.
The biggest challenge for any teacher is capturing each student's attention and conveying ideas effectively enough to create a lasting impression. As a teacher, to tackle this challenge effectively, you should implement innovative ideas that make the classroom experience much more lovable for your student. For that, I selected the topic ICT enabled pedagogy, because nowadays, along with the traditional teaching, we have to incorporate the ICT teaching also. So only I selected these models. Models for ICT enabled teaching. Let us see about TPAC and Samr. TPAC and Samr. What is TPAC? TPAC means technological, pedagogical, content knowledge. It is used for the effectiveness of the delivery of the lesson with technology integration. That is, to make the teaching effective, we have to integrate with technology. Then only the teaching will become more effective. Why TPAC is important? TPAC is an essential part of the education system today. It sets up education for the future as well as setting up the students for their future. How can TPAC be used in the classroom? TPAC highlights where technology and pedagogy influence each other. By knowing the knowledge about TPAC, the teacher can identify in which place we can influence pedagogy with technology. So we need the TPAC ideas during the classroom teaching. This is one of the best method to change in the how the material is to be taught in the class. Punya Mishra and Matthew 2006 popularized TPAC framework, which focuses on TK, technological knowledge, PK means pedagogical knowledge, CK, content knowledge. So the TPAC knowledge is essential for the effective teaching. Shall I see one short video?
What is teaching? Let's start with content knowledge. This is the information on the subjects we teach. It includes disciplines such as mathematics, science, art, and music. But being an expert in a field does not necessarily equate to being a good teacher. We also need pedagogical knowledge, which is the art of teaching. It includes things such as taking into consideration learning styles, differentiating instruction, creating classroom environment, and assessment practices. Basically, it's your philosophy of education. Teachers also need technological knowledge, which is the teaching tools. Today, most people's immediate thoughts are of modern technologies. However, it can be as simple as a pen or a calculator. Content knowledge? pedagogy, and technology can be imagined in three overlapping circles. The middle area is known as TPAC. Technological, pedagogical, and content knowledge. But is all this knowledge beyond our reach? The overlapping area between content and pedagogy covers the core business of teaching. It's what to teach and the best way to teach it. However, it's the third realm of technology with its overlapping areas that tends to be the most challenging for teachers.
Created using Powtoon.
Here's TPAC in 2 minutes. For more information, visit tpac.org. So first we have to ask, what is it?
Have you seen about the TPAC here? I know that you have very well understand about the technological knowledge, pedagogical knowledge and content. See here. This is technology, content and pedagogy. The combination of these three tools, we can make the teaching effective. What is content knowledge? That is, the teacher should know what is to be taught in the class. The classroom teaching, before you are going to the class, you have to know very well about the content. That is the content knowledge. What is to be taught in the class. Next, PK, pedagogy knowledge. That is, the teacher should know how the content to be imparted. The content in the imparted way should be know about the teacher very well. Then she can impart, if any place, if she need, she can impart the technology. That is known as technology knowledge. Combination of these three, that is content knowledge, pedagogy knowledge, technology knowledge, will make the teaching more effective. This is known as TPAC. That is, once again see here, CK, content knowledge, PK, pedagogical knowledge, TK, technological knowledge. The combination of technological knowledge and content knowledge is known as TCK, technological content knowledge. Pedagogical knowledge and content knowledge is known as pedagogical content knowledge. Combination of these two, technological knowledge and pedagogical knowledge, is known as technological pedagogical knowledge. This both TK, CK and PK is known as TPACK, that is technological pedagogical content knowledge. Next, Samr model, SAMR model. S stands for substitution, A stands for augmentation, M stands for modification, R stands for redefinition. Samr model, popularized by Dr. Ruben Pudendra, supports and enables teachers to design, develop and infuse digital learning experiences that utilize technology. Samr model is one of the best model in the teaching method. By using this, teacher can design, develop and infuse digital learning experiences. The main goal of the Samr model is to transfer learning experiences in the higher level of achievement for students. Shall we see this small video regarding Samr?
You're having a hard time reading on the web. Wait, are you seriously trying to highlight on...
I am lame. Ready to learn
in other words, it's a model used to select, use, and evaluate technology in a particular classroom. S stands for substitution. Level, technology acts as a direct tool substitute with no functional change. For example, instead of having your students write out an essay by hand, you allow them to use Microsoft Word or Google Docs. The task of writing the essay is exactly the same, but the students are using a technology tool instead of a writing it user. Augmentation. Tool substitute and some functional improvement. For example, when students create an assignment in Google Docs, instead of having to print it out and share it with their teacher, they can share it via email. Or instead of taking a paper and pencil quiz, students complete a quiz on Google Form. Students receive immediate feedback on the score. M stands for modification. In this part of the model, technology allows for significant task redesign. This is the first step in the model where the traditional tasks happening in the classroom begin to transform. For example, adding comments and collaborating on Google Docs provides immediate feedback for students. R stands for redefinition. Technology allows for the creation of new tasks previously inconceivable. You'll see a lot of collaboration, discussions, and creating with technology in this part of the model. For example, a classroom is asked to create an ebook on a curriculum topic. Groups are assigned to work on subtopics. Heavy collaboration occurs, research is conducted using various sources, and students use an app to create the ebook with embedded videos, photographs, and audio. The final ebook is posted on the classroom website for parents, administrators, and others to view. Well, where should the SAMR model be used? Any place where learning occurs, such as the classroom, school, or library. Well, when should teachers refer to the SAMR model? Anytime you're planning for your lessons, reflecting on previous lessons, or when a new piece of equipment or software is placed in your classroom. Well, why should teachers refer to the SAMR model? Kathy Schrock created a great infographic to show the comparison between the SAMR model and Bloom's taxonomy. Essentially, students should work their way up the model, with the highest goal being that students advance their learning in a transformational manner. As they work their way up the model, students are using higher order cognitive skill levels.
Here, you have seen about Samr model in this video. Next, the questions will arise on your mind. Substitution. What will I gain by replacing the task with new tech? In the Samr model, they are saying you have to replace some traditional model into the tech model. So the question will arise, what will I gain by replacing the task with new tech? Augmentation. Then the question arises, does the tech add new features that improves the task? Then the modification, your question, does the task significantly change with the use of tech? Then again in the redefinition, does the tech allow for creation of new tasks previously unconceivable? In the Samr model, they are saying by replacing the traditional by using technology. So many questions arises regarding substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. Why we have to use substitution? Why we have to use augmentation with some features? Then is the modification and redefinition is possible for our task. See here, in the substitution, technology acts as a direct tool substituted with no functional change. There is no any functional change during the substitution. but technology acts as a tool. For example, instead of using Atlas, you can use Google Earth to locate a place. In the Samr model, they are saying to use some technological instead of traditional model. So instead of Atlas to locate a place, we can use Google Earth. Another one, augmentation. Here, technology acts as a direct tool substitute with functional improvement. It is a best tool, but some changes in the functional. Here say, use Google Earth rulers to measure the distance between two places. They are asking to use the Google Earth rulers to measure the distance between two places. This combination of substitution and augmentation is known as enhancement. Then modification. Here, technology allows for significant task redesign. The technology can be redesigned. Use Google Earth layers such as panorama and 340 cities research locations. For research locations, use Google Earth layers in the modification. In the redefinition, technology allows for the creation of new tasks previously inconceivable. That is, create a narrated Google Earth guided tour and share this online. Here, the step by step, we are including the technology, and finally in the redefinition state, we are concluded the total technology and shared in this online. So this combination of these two is known as transformation. Substitution and augmentation comes under the category enhancement. Modification and redefinition comes under transformation. See some examples for substitution. That is, you know Bloom's taxonomy. I thought that you already knows about the Bloom's taxonomy. The Samr ladder coupled to Bloom's revised taxonomy. Because in the Bloom's taxonomy is the traditional model for teaching and learning process. The Samr model is coupled with Bloom's taxonomy. Here, the goal for a teacher is to construct a simple two enhancement level of Samr, SAMR, that is substitution, augmentation are associated with the three lower levels of Bloom's taxonomy, that is remember, understand, apply. Two transformation levels of Samr, modification and redefinition are associated with the upper levels of Bloom, analyze, evaluate, create. See here, create, evaluate, analyze, apply, understand, remember. You know very well about the Bloom's taxonomy. In the lower stage, we will read in the Bloom's taxonomy, knowledge, understanding, application, skill. Knowledge, understanding, application, skill part. In the knowledge part, we recall and remember. That comes under the substitution. Understanding parts also comes under here. Application parts also comes under here. That is substitution and augmentation. Knowledge, understanding, application. The Bloom's taxonomy is coupled with Samr model. In the substitution, tech acts as a direct tool, substitute with the no functional change. That is, in the remember, knowledge part, there is only recall and recognize part, but here The technology can access a direct tool. Last slide I told that instead of using Atlas, you can use Google Map like that. You can substitute the tech tool instead of traditional model. Augmentation. Tech access a direct tool substitute with functional improvement. This comes under the analyze, evaluate, create. That is skill, evaluation. Here, these three comes under modification and redefinition. This is the combination of Samr model to the Bloom's model. Coupling the Samr model with the Bloom's revised taxonomy. Listen here. Substitution and augmentation comes in the lower level of Bloom. That modification and redefinition comes under the upper level of Bloom's. These are some examples. Substitution, you will say in the knowledge part, define, list, recall, identify, label, locate. In that, you can use, instead of that, you can use Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, Twitter, Microsoft Point, Quizlet for evaluation. Augmentation. Explain, solve, contrast, choose, show, report. That is understanding part and application part of Bloom's taxonomy. According to Samr, you can use Google Docs, Prezi, Word, Clouding, Educreations, and Google Form. Then modification and the redefinition comes under the part skill and evaluation. Modification, categorize, evaluation, connect, conclude, infer, distinguish. You can use Blogger, MindMaster, Skype, Canva, Edge Puzzle. Redefinition, design, invent, assemble, modify, organize, collaborate. These are the Bloom's taxonomy. Instead of that, you can use Adobe Spark, Nearpod, Padlet, Scotch, Flipboard. For this, you can use this tech also. This is the Samr model examples. There are some websites for science teaching. World Labs is based on the idea that lab experiments can be taught using some websites. You can use the virtuallab.com like this. These are some examples for teaching. You can use these websites. Next. Next, we can go to Edge Tech Tools. For teaching, to make more effective, we need some tools. I am selecting the best tool as Sway for the presentation. Sway is one of the best tool you can use for the presentation. Dear participants, now I can. Are you able to see this? Are you audible? Madam?
Yes, ma'am, audible.
Now I am going to say about this app Sway. You listen step by step how we can create the presentation very easily. For going to Sway, first stay here. For Sway app, you can go directly in two ways. By giving Outlook password, you can go to the Sway. Say here, I already opened the outlook.com by giving the mail and the password. You also open the outlook.com by using mail ID and password. Then after opening the outlook.com, you can see here 9 dots here. By clicking this 9 dots, like this, so many apps will open. Here, see here, all apps. When you click this, you can get this Sway app. See here, this is the very nice app for the teaching method. Yes, now you are welcome to Sway. This type, if you enter the Sway, this page will open. See here, create new, start from a topic, start from a document. In the create new, we have to prepare new one. Start from a topic. If you are going to teach one topic, you can click here, it will give all the materials in inbuilt stage. Start from a document, we can upload PowerPoint here. These are the main 3 headings under this way. You can use these 3 headings for your teaching. Let us go to this heading, start from a topic. I give some example. See here, if you click this page will open, enter a topic. Now I am going to click enter hot. Now I entered as a hot. Here you click here, create outline. You see here, this type of presentation will be open. You don't need to type anything. See here, scroll and see it very slowly. Text code. Then next structure. Then second stage, development. It itself will give all the materials and pictures. Not only pictures, but GIF image. Then also, you see here, it will give, you scroll it and see. It will give the reference books regarding the heart. You can collect so many materials, reference materials here also. The teacher can use this materials also for teaching process. This is the very nice tool. Within the short time, you can prepare the presentation very easily. You don't need to add any text material. It itself will give all the materials here. See here. Okay. Then, if you want to See here, if you want to give background, that is hot image, then you click here. See here, if you put copy heart and put here, you can get more images related to heart. You click this and drag it and keep here. So you can get the heart picture. Here the word emphasis, if you click this, you copy this word heart and you click this word emphasis, you get in the bold state. If you want to change in the italic, you can click this accent. Here this can be used as a focus point. Then next step, you can go to plus. Here, see here, suggested text media group. If you click the suggested, heading 1, text, image, stop, upload. Heading, we can click the heading. You can type any heading. Chambers of heart. If you want the next heading, chambers of heart. Copy. Paste it. Then you search the figures related to this images. If you want this, you drag this and keep here. Next, you click the plus. I want some text to be typed here. You can collect the text from some place already you have, means you copy it. And keep it, paste it. Then you go to this image. This option is image. You can give so many images you wanted, means you also keep here. See here, these points, while you fixing the image, this will open. This will show normal size, this for medium size, this for big size. Next, stop. This is the very good option in this way. This option is only in the Sway tool, not in any other tool. Add, click the add content page, then you add. Like this, you can add. If you want to remove this, you can click delete. Next group, media. If you want to add video, you go to video here, then you select any one video and drag it and keep it. Like this you can add. If you want to see so far what you have done, you can click here, play. See here these arrows. By clicking this, you can see whatever the work so far you have done. Like this, you can see, you can prepare for any subject. It will be more easier for you. For the subheading physiology, you can give the picture related to physiology, and like that you can add the headings, text materials, subheadings, videos, images related to this. While you are clicking this, it itself will give the all materials regarding the heart. Not necessary you have to type any materials regarding this, all will be in the inbuilt stage. So it will be very easier to prepare for the presentation in very easier way. So you can use this sway for the teaching in this method. Okay, here you see edit. But I want some slight changes in this, means I have to go to the edit. Here, see here, there is storyline. Now we are doing the work under the heading storyline. If we want slight modification, you click the design. See here, so far I have shown about start from a topic. Here, once again I am saying, if you want to teach anything, then you open this and type this as, for example, lungs. Create outline. Like this, if you type any lesson, for example, if you want to teach atomic structure, you can click here atomic structure, lungs, anything. You can get the materials in the inbuilt stage, that is already auto-generated, already it is available in the website itself. But you can add some more changes, background, If you want to add some pictures, you can collect here and keep all the pictures here. After completing your work, you can go to share. Here you see the viewpoint. You click here. Then you copy this link. Then copy here. You can get the videos so far what you have done. You can, like that, you can prepare the any subject matter by using the SWAY. This is the one of the way. Next. You see here, I explained about this start from a topic. If you want to prepare new slides, means you have to click create new. Here you have to give all the matters. That is new type of presentation. That is you are not liking already available materials, means you are going to prepare creatively, means you can use this. See here, you click background and then you put here. Paste. Bring it, drag this and keep it. Now one slide is over. If you want to bold this by using emphasis, you can make. If you want italic, you can click here. Then you have to go this plus. Then heading. You have to put the new heading. Next, copy this and you type here. Then you see so many images related this. Collect here and if you want videos, you then click plus. Then you click media. Under that you click video, the video page will open. In that you come and keep your video. You can put video lesson. This is the creating new slides. Then again plus. You want so many pictures, you put plus, then add images, then you collect. If you want to, the pictures in the group, like this you can. Then if you want to say this, you go to play. If you want some slight changes, means you go to this page edit. I don't want this means you can use this delete and remove the page. Then you can share. Click here. You can get the link. Copy this link. You can paste and open this. You can get your work. Like this, by using Sway, you can prepare the presentation in a nice manner. It will be very useful app for you to prepare the presentation very easily. There are so many options in this. You can prepare and do it well. Nowadays, we are in a situation, total scenario is changed. Now we are in a kind of compulsion, student to learn by online mode. Based on these challenges, there must be some connectivity between the teacher and student. So the remote learning and blended learning will be the best teaching method for students and teachers. So useful the EdTech tools for the teaching methods. So only I told about TPAC and Samr model. The Samr model, they are insisting that to replace traditional methods by using technological tools. In the TPAC, they are saying that teacher must know content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge. The combination of content knowledge, pedagogical knowledge, and technological knowledge only make the teaching more effective. Then only we can make the connection with students in the lovable manner. Otherwise, they will become so tired. When we use only the traditional methods for teaching, they will become so tired on listening the classroom situations. You can use this type of nice apps for the teaching and learning process along with the content and pedagogical method. So the TPAC and Samr method is the best useful teaching method you can implement in your teaching learning process. There are so many excellent ways you can make teaching more effective, even more awesome. Thank you. Sir?
Thank you very much, madam.
Thank you, sir.
A fantastic experience for us. You talked much about this teaching pedagogy, models of ICT technology, and TPAC and SAMR, very useful to us. and you gave nice example with the heart, that is very much appreciable on the part of medical students and professors. So we express our sincere thanks to you, madam, and you make us so super proud by this presentation. It is very admirable, stupendous and inspiring, and your performance also excellent and amazing. Thank you very much, madam. Thank you once again.
Thank
Thanks,
you,
madam.
sir. Thanks. Shall I release,
You wait
sir?
for 2 minutes for next session. The next guest, our research director, Dr. Revati madam. Revati madam is available here. You wait for a few minutes. Hello. Madam, Revati madam. Madam, you can get in. Okay, okay, okay. We are expecting you. We are expecting you. Okay. Papa is not. So once again, on behalf of our university, we want to give some instructions. Your attendance is compulsory as because we are giving our attendance certificate, and also we request you to be in time at 11 o'clock and also in the afternoon 2 o'clock, and till the completion you have to be here. And this is second day program, already we told you, and those who are joined late or yet to be given your registration form fill up, you ought to do. The registration form is a must, filling it as a must, as because it will help us to give you the e-certificate. And also each and every day at the end of the program, we are sending you the feedback form, that also you give your response so that it will be a record for us. And it is for your kind information that these programs are very essential as per the University Grants Commission's requirements, and also it will be added advantage for our NAC preparation. And as you know very well, our rector madam, Mrs. Jayanti Radhakrishnan, is taking a laborious and industrious and illuminative efforts for us to make us as a good academician. So at this juncture, we have to be very much thankful to our Rector Madam, Vice Chancellor and Registrar for having given this opportunity. So let us use it and let us follow the same for the promotion of our students' knowledge. So these are all the things that you have to keep it in your mind, and we are awaiting for Revati Madam. She is going to give a talk on research methods in different disciplines. As we had yesterday, the program from Dr. Kayal Vidi, it is a different area that she is going to give her presentation. As you know very well, Dr. Kayal Vidi is our members of the staff, one of the members of the staff, and she had done extraordinarily well yesterday. And it is for your kind information that she has been awarded the Best Research Faculty Award by our MAHER University. So the research area is being given an upbeating task for the promotion of our university, not only our university, but for the scholars and the entire student community. The role of Revati Madam is excellent in promoting our research activities. Now she is going to get in to present her topic. So as we had yesterday's lecture, the last session, we had the life skills. As I told you, mere academic excellence won't be helpful for you to become a popular person. You have to use your life skills. That's what we discussed yesterday. Why this? Among that life skills, time management is one of the important concepts. As we discussed about that in brief, there is an Upanishad in ancient literature, Adhyatma Upanishad. In that Upanishad, that is the period of after Vedic period, Upanishad period. During that time, that Upanishad tells something about procrastination. Procrastination means we should not delay to do any work. That procrastination, we have to keep it in our mind. It is like death. He compares, that Upanishad compares procrastination, that is equivalent to death. So how much is that important? Now you can understand. The same thing Adi Shankara also tells about procrastination. Procrastination is nothing but தள்ளி போடுறது, எந்த ஒரு ஒர்க்கையும் தள்ளி போடுறது. That is not advisable. So Adi Shankara, what he tells, if you do procrastination, it will lead to infatuation. That will lead to egoism. Then it will lead to bondage and it will give enough sufferings. So we have to avoid procrastination that comes under time management. Now I request our Revati Madam.
Sir, good morning, sir. Good morning to one and all present here. First, I thank the
1 minute, madam.
management, our Vice Chancellor, and Registrar Madam. Sir, am I audible?
1 minute, madam.
Okay, sir.
So on behalf of you, we welcome our Professor Dr. K. Revati Madam, the Director of Research, MAHER. She had a rich experience as the formal principal, Dean of Research, and all other important positions she had at Ethiraj College for Women. And also she had so many credits in her publications, conference presentations, and she had undergone sponsored research projects, around 8 projects she had. It is a great achievement on her part. She got so many awards, and also she had been to so many conferences, webinars, seminars as resource person. So such a great scholar, researcher, teacher, trainer, coach, and also at the outset, she is a great administrator, such an excellent research director. She gives a new phenomenon. She gives a new impetus for our promotion of research in MAHER, and she is a great legend. On behalf of you, we extend our sincere welcoming status to our Dr. Revati Madam. Now I request Revati Madam to continue. Welcome you, Madam.
Thank you, sir. First and foremost, I thank Dr. Elambavan, sir, for giving me an opportunity to present about the research methods. I thank the management, the Vice Chancellor, the Registrar Madam, and the officers of this institute. I welcome all the students. Let us go directly to the research methods. So when you talk about the research methods, it could be scientific method. So I have put in my slide stating that it could be even a computer discovery in the computer field. Or by using equipment, you can analyze the tests, or you can give some reasons or set up an hypothesis so that you'll be able to do your research. In case, you can also interpret the context in the scientific method, or you can invent a new technology and reinterpret the results, represent the results, observe the results, or you can record the results. So the various types of research methodology. Next. So when you come to research methodology, first one is the research. The next one is the type of research methodology. Then by following the methods, you have to process your research. And then raise up the question in your research and say how far it will be possible to carry out your research. So all this is based upon the methods versus the research methodology. So literally the meaning is research. You are searching again and again whatever is there in your work. That is research. Research literally it is termed as the scientific and systematic research to learn about a specific topic. The topic what you have chosen, you just analyze it and go in depth so that researching it again and again, and you will be able to arrive at a conclusion. According to Clifford Woody, research comprises how to define or redefine the problems, formulate a hypothesis, or you can suggest some solution for the hypothesis, collect the data, organize the data, and then you can evaluate the data, making some deductions, and then only you can arrive at a conclusion. So this is only research. The next slide will be giving you about the objective of the research. So when you are doing your research, you must have an objective in your mind, what to do. That is, explore the research studies and then see to it. If it is descriptive research studies, go in for the description. And then if it is an experimental thing, you have to go for the diagnostic research studies. Then in the case of the nursing and all, they will choose a hypothesis and they will find the testing research studies, that is hypothesis testing research studies. These are the various objectives of the research. So once you know the objective of the research, you must find out what are the characteristic points of the research. Research is nothing. It is a process of collection, analyzing it, and then whatever you get in that, you give the interpretation. That is, you will be able to answer the questions in it. But to qualify as research, the process what you undergo must have certain characteristics. That is controlled, rigorous, systematic, valid, and it should be verifiable, empirical, and critical. So these are the characteristics of research. So when you have all these things only, you can proceed for the research. So the research on the scientific methods. So when you look into the research on the scientific method, first you just say, ask, observe what you have to do. Then you prepare a questionnaire and say, what are the questions you can put into it to proceed with your work. After that, you have to search the literature. Literature search is very important. Usually, before and all, the computer facilities are not there, and then we have to go to the library and search for the literature, which will take an year. Now it is enough if you sit before the computer for 2 months or 3 months, collect the relevant information or the earlier works done by the scientific people. Then the hypothesis you can arrive. What are the experiments you can do? And then how to collect the data. Once you collect the data only, you can conclude. And then you can even share your results, develop new interventions. All this could be done once you start doing your research. First and foremost, you observe the field in which you have to work. Then only you can interpret. Then there are different types of research. That is, from three perspectives, you can see the research. One will be the application of the research study. Once you take up a topic, how you can apply it to the field. Like that, you have to study in depth. Then after that, what are the objectives when you undertake that research? Do you require any inquiry model that you have to employ in it? So there are descriptive versus analytical research also. Then applied versus fundamental. Descriptive versus analytical. That methods of research utilized in descriptive method, that is survey methods you do in all kinds. That survey method will include both comparison as well as the correlation method. Whereas when you take up the analytical research, the researcher has to use certain facts that is already available. That means the researcher would have gathered the information when the researcher has to do the analytical research. After that, they have to analyze to make the critical evaluation of the material. And next will be the applied versus fundamental. The central aim of applied research is to discover a solution and then looking for the practical problem. Whereas the basic research is directed towards finding the information. So first and foremost, find the information, what is there, how it is being directed, and then look into the broad base of applications that is already existing. So the scientific knowledge, by gathering all this scientific knowledge and by application, you can start your research. That will be applied research. The next will be the quantitative versus qualitative. From the amount, from the meaning of quantitative, it's very clear. It indicates the amount. The qualitative will be telling us the quality of your work. So quantitative research will be based on the measurement. That is, I told you, amount taken, that will be quantitative. And it is also expressed in terms of quantity. Qualitative research is concerned with the qualitative problem. How qualitative is your work? How it is applicable? All this is based upon the quantitative or qualitative the research will be. Next, the research is also based upon the conceptual versus empirical. Conceptual research is nothing but that will be related to the abstract idea. That is the theory. Whatever papers you read, you will be having an abstract. From the abstract only, you will be able to develop. So you will be noting certain points, how to carry out the, what are the importance in that work. Note down that point by point. Usually the philosophers and thinkers, what they will do is, they will develop the new concepts or they will try to reinterpret the existing ones. So if you have an abstract or the idea of the work, you can either interpret or from that idea, you can develop new concepts. Whereas empirical research is, proof is essential. That is, proof is sought that certain variables affect other variables in some way or the other. So when you have the proof, then only you can provide, move into the empirical research. So evidence gathered through experiments or the empirical studies is more important because it receives the more powerful support that is possible for a given hypothesis. If you have chosen a hypothesis and if you wanted to proceed, you have to first write what are the experiments you can carry. What could be our answer to that? Let us do, whether it is positive or negative, you can interpret in that way. So you need the, through experiments, the research what you do is called as the empirical research. And there are other types of research, one-time research or a longitudinal research. Then it could be even a field setting research or the research that you could do in the laboratory or by using the simulation experiment, that is called as the simulation research. And you can do the research, either clinical research or the diagnostic research. Or you can trace the historic of it and then say this is the historical research from the origin how it has been manipulated or how it has gone through the years, and then you can conclude based upon that. So it could be either one-time research or whatever you do in the lab, or simulation research, or it could be even a clinical research or diagnostic research. Even historical research is also acceptable, where you trace the history of the work and then present it in a hierarchy, then that order, chronological order. Then you can conclude by that, and you can arrive at a decision stating that this is my research, and you can conclude the research. And when you talk about the research methods, it could be versus the research methodology. Research methodology is the methods what you adapt while you're doing your research the techniques what you adopt. So at times a distinction is made between research techniques and research methods. Research technique will refer to the behavior and the instrument we use when we are performing our experiments. Like when you do an experiment, you will note down, that is, you will observe what happens. After that, you will record the data, what you are arriving at, and the techniques of processing the data, all that you will be noting down. That is called as the research techniques. Research methods means how it works, and then how you select it, how you construct it when you are using the research technique. They are the research methods. Usually in research, we follow a standardized method. So in case, if you would like to alter the method and proceed, for example, in case of chemicals or any experiment, when you want to alter certain things, that also could be altered and then proceed. And then you can even go for the patent, that you can say that by following this method, the time has been limited. So instead of 20 minutes, it has taken 15 minutes. Instead of this chemical, the process has been made faster. All that interpretations can be made in the research. So this is the flow chart of the research process. First, you have to identify the problem. How will you identify the problem? In the respective field you are doing your research, first see to it what are the problems that are left over without interpretation. Choose that problem. Or if you could look into the literature and review the literature fully, you'll arrive at a conclusion that you can take up this type of work. After that, you first start questioning yourself. Prepare a questionnaire. Why should I do that? If I am proceeding with this work, what is the gain? What will be the public interpretation? What I can carry it to the public? Is it useful to the society? Then derive the objective of it and then arrive at an hypothesis. After that, you just start doing the design, study design, like how you have to proceed your work. And directly on the simple, then you can even decide upon the sample designs. For example, if you are taking up this type of work, the sample number that is required. For example, in certain cases, if it is a lab process, we'll be doing it 6 times for the statistical data. Whereas on humans, if you are providing the, if you have to work on the human beings, it has to be around 100 samples or 400 samples, the samples that is available. Sometimes it may extend even to thousands. So according to that, you can draw the sample designs. Then you can collect the data. Once you have collected the data, and then you have to process the data. And while you are processing the data, you should have lots of data. So then only you can go in for the statistical approach. Any research without statistics is not accepted. If you are doing with 6 samples, you find the mean of the 6 samples. Then do the standard deviation. 6 times if you do, you can see the error that is there when you are repeating the experiments. Similarly, when you are doing in animal studies also, any work experiment what you are doing, you have to do more than 6 times each thing so that you will get the standard data. After this, getting this data, once you are arriving, you can subject it to statistics, either two-way ANOVA, Duncan multiple range test between the groups, within the groups, so which will give you a valuable value. So with that, you can interpret and start writing the report. This is more important in research. Without statistics, you cannot submit your research data. So once you're doing your research, you have to design the work. That is, first you must know the meaning of the research design. So when you design the work, you must know the need of that design. And then if you are designing it also, there should be a feature of a good design and the concept that is related to it. What are the different research designs? What are the basic principles of your experimental design? Then you develop a research plan. Then you see to it that experimental setup. After the experimental setup, you have to use the standards and codes. Any experimental setup as a code, it should be of standard methods, which will give you the right value. And you have to code the experimental while you're doing any experiment. The method which you are following has to be written with the author's name or the scientist's name. So which will make you do the work. Then once the research is done, you have to collect the data. So this data collection could be a primary data. Then go in for the secondary data. Once the data is collected, you see to it that you organize that in a systematic manner and then group the data. There are various methods of data grouping. Then you represent that in the diagrammatic representation. It could be a bar diagram, easy representation, and you can say, by looking into it, you can say, how is your data between the control and the experimental? Or you can give between the groups, within the groups, all those analysis to be done. And even you can represent it by graphic representation and then say which one is greater than the other and interpret your values. Then you can go for your report writing. So how will you write your report? You just prepare a format of the research report. First, you have to say to it what are the works you have done. That is called as the synopsis type. Then before the synopsis, after making up the synopsis, you just go in for the introduction, review objective of the study, review of literature. Then once you go for the review of literature, then you have to write your results. After writing the results, you have to interpret your data. That is called as the discussion. What you do in the discussion is the earlier workers, what they have done. Whether it is concurrent, if your work is concurrent with the earlier workers. Similarly, you need not arrive always the result as a positive number. It could be negative also. If it is negative, when you are performing the experiment, you would have observed why you have got this negative value. Based on that also, the interpretation could be made. After that, you have to, the last part of the dissertation is the references or bibliography we call. And sometimes if you take up the references in the web, it's called as the bibliography. Then research proposal preparation should be there. And once you prepare your research proposal, you can write the research proposal and you can go in for the research grant. So nowadays, in MAHER and everywhere in any institute, they ask for the research grant proposal. The grant, you can get it from the external source, which will be of great help for your work, which they will be supporting your research. So you may not spend the amount also. And while doing the research, you have to keep certain steps in your mind. First, the topic or the problem you have to define. As I have told earlier, you have to establish the need of research. If I am doing this research, how it could be established. And the problem, you have to define that and look into the objectives of the study. And then derive at a clear working hypothesis. And research design should also be there. Based all this you can do only based on the earlier literature. Prepare the question and you address the problem and answer to that questions. That itself you will be able to arrive at your work. Then see to it what are the methods you have to follow. what are the techniques that you have to do in order to arrive at your result, and the issue what you have selected, whether this technique will be appropriate, or the standard methods what I have to follow in analyzing the technique. Once you follow all that, and when you start working in the lab or start working for that hypothesis, you can interpret the results. Once you have got the results, you have to apply for the statistical data. Then you have to discuss. How will you discuss that? Based on the earlier literature or the scientific evidences or the findings related to the field, all that you should have it in your hand so that you can go through it and then arrive at a conclusion. A clear and significant conclusion of the study is essential to the research problem, what you have defined in the objective of your study. Objective means you will be giving in points. The aim of my study is to find this. The objective of the study is all this when I am doing, I'll be able to find the objective. So, how will you define a research problem? That is, by defining the research problem, you need a clear need for your future study. Any type of problem or toxicity studies, anything you can highlight in detail, the problem and the side effects associated with it. Any problem you take, there will be lots of complication. There will be side effects. All this associated with your work should be highlighted in detail. Then you have to establish the research. See, how would you reduce the effect? For example, the drugs used or the antioxidant or the plant sources or the synthetic compounds the plants possess, whether you can use the polar solvent, non-polar solvent while performing your work. And in the case of the yoga, you can do by performing this yoga, what could be the effect? Whether it could be improve the respiratory problem. Like that, each and every subject has got the need for the research you can establish. And in the case of the nursing, they will develop the hypothesis 1, 2, and then they can keep proceeding with it. That will be the next stage. You have to give clearly the aim and the objective of the study. So once you give the aim and the objective of the study, that only will fulfill the criteria for the research need. For example, when I take the toxicity study, I will be studying whether the free radicals generated during the toxicity, whether it will be ameliorated with the antioxidant drugs, or the hyperlipidemia arise during the toxicity can be brought to normalcy. If it is positive or negative, I can easily interpret. So by giving the drug, it could be hyperlipidemia, or the lipid can go down. That means it would have fought against the drug. So the lipid content would have been decreased. Similarly, the protein, the energy spent also in the case of the animals, we can say against the toxicity, the animals have fought. So the protein has come down. Like that way, you can interpret whether it is positive or negative. For any studies, in vivo or in vitro model, whatever if you are doing in vivo, especially using the human beings, nursing, medical, dental, yoga, they have to go in for ethical clearance, because it is more important when you are performing a study in humans that ethical clearance should have been attained. And even in rats. So if there is ethical clearance attained only, you can proceed your work even in the in vitro, in vivo models. Without the ethical clearance, you cannot proceed, because once you define or present your topic in ethical committee, they'll be able to tell and judge the appropriate human beings to be taken or the rats that could be involved. You should not waste the sample while performing the experiment. That is the need of the study. Then I told you already, the research is of two types, qualitative or quantitative. Qualitative means you have to focus only in group observation and the model. That will be of the qualitative type. Quantitative, I have already said to you, it could be descriptive, survey type of research. or it could be a laboratory experiment, field experiment, and scientific investigations will play a role in the quantitative type of research. As I have said earlier, while processing the research, review of literature is very important because they'll be able to give us the work that has to be carried out and the further direction in that. Or you can choose some of the lacunae that is there, or the difficulties in the previous study, and you can proceed your work. So that is the reason we insist on the review of literature. Then research information, what you have gathered, it could be either primary information or a secondary information. Primary information is nothing but the key information which will be required for you while doing the research work to complete it successfully. That is called as the primary information. This primary information can also be obtained by conducting survey or by observation or by performing the experiments. Whereas secondary information is nothing but the supportive information that is required for the primary information. What all you have gathered initially, the supportive data, what you get will be the secondary information. Already the existing information, how we will be able to get the existing information? By reading books, reading magazines, or from the internet. These are the three sources where you will be able to get the already existing information, which will be useful for our supportive study. And then I told you, you have to prepare the questionnaire. See, this preparing the questionnaire is integrating or your thought-provoking questions towards the research problem. It could be a prophylactic approach for a good and the successful research. So when you are having a problem in your hand, you must see to it, why I have to make this study? Is there any novelty in the study? What best thing I could get from this study, which I can give it to the scientific community? Will this study be prophylactic and economically viable while I am addressing the problem? Then in the case of the drug, if you are using, I have to analyze and then say whether I can go into animal trials or human trials. By going to the human trials, how many numbers I have to take in, whether it will give a good result. In case if I'm using the animal model, I have to see to it whether the drug can be given through a liquid. Then the sequential and proper materials and the methods, that will be the crucial part in the whole design of this study. For example, I'll give you only plant materials, collection of materials, from which place you have collected. And then cell lines, if you are doing, you have to take it prior approval and get it from the Pune Research Institute, where they provide you the cell lines. Then you go in for the experimental design. When you do the experimental design, always have the control and the experimental part. In the case of the experimental part, you have to choose the LC50 or LD50. First, after looking into it, then you can do your experimental design based upon the limit of your study. Then what are the techniques you have to follow? Then after following the techniques, when you are analyzing, then you must look into it whether any bioinformatics study could be done. For drug delivery and all, you can usually use the bioinformatics. Even de novo hypothesis is that for the enzyme study to see that where it goes and binds. According to that, you can reinterpret through bioinformatics softwares also. And I told you, statistical analysis is the key part. How to conclude when you're doing the experiment. You have to do this two-way ANOVA test, that is DMRT test, concurrent multiple range test, which will always give the results within the groups and between the groups. All this is the basic part of your research. So these are the methods that you could do while taking up your research. So once you're performing your research, you will be arriving at your results. So in any research, the crucial, the central and the vital part is the process, the result interpretation, to investigate whether the free radicals generated will be of use. All this you can interpret. Or during the toxical studies, what has happened to the lipid, protein, carbohydrate, or any other pathways you wanted to study, or you can interpret what has happened in the pathway. Interpreting is the integral part of the research work. The results may be positive or negative, as I have said. It is the way that you interpret the result. So while interpreting only, you'll be able to arrive at this significant conclusion of this study. And that will serve as an answer to the question raised. Remember, while you are designing the study, you will raise certain questions. Then finally, when the results are in hand, look into it, whether it has answered all your questions. Then you start interpreting your results. So the data first, what you are getting will be in the raw form, that will be in the form of numbers. So whether you perform the dry experiment or wet experiment, the data what you have collected will be in the raw form. Then you tabulate the data. Then schematic representation you can do, or you can draw graphical designs. Then the images what you get out of it. See to it whether it is an acceptable form. How you can arrive at an acceptable form? After meticulous scrutinization and analysis of the result only, you can take it to the acceptable form. A very vital requirement while you are interpreting the result is the consistency you arrive after many number of repetition. Anything you cannot do once and arrive at a conclusion. You have to repeat it and see whether the results are consistent. Then only you will be able to get a good result. So a standard statistical analysis software is essential to evaluate the standard error and the number of times you have repeated the experiment, and to arrive at consistent values, you require a software, SPSS package, standard statistical analysis software. So the error what you get in an experiment, that error could always fall only between 10 to 20%. So that is an indication of your technical capability in the repetition of your experiment. Just like that you cannot do. You have to follow stepwise and see to it that the error is minimized. And will bring it to the range 10 to 20%. If the range goes beyond the acceptable level, then you have to repeat your experiment till you arrive at the consistent values. All this is important in performing your research. In case, for example, if some of the researchers you use microscopic techniques, but it is mandatory that the information needed is your magnification size. Always you write whether it is 10x, 50x or the 100x and look into the picture and then say, in the case of the liver, I have done this experiment, stratification has occurred, hyperemia has occurred, and then in the kidney, the distal convoluted tubule or the proximal convoluted tubule has damage, the medulla has damaged, or the cortex has damaged. Like that, you can interpret looking into the diagram. Similarly, in the intestine, you can go into the intestinal villi in the small intestine and see whether there is any change in that. Like that, only the magnification size is important, and it should be the same in all the images of the various groups you have chosen. Control, experimental with 5% concentration or 10% concentration, what you have arrived at it, the magnification should be the same. Then only you can analyze the data very clearly. It is crucial in data analysis and the interpretation what you give as images with different magnification. And then you can even manipulate according to the requirement of the result is not acceptable. As per the requirement of the result, which is not acceptable. Similar magnification in microscopic images or good representation of the data if you are using the microscopes, and the techniques that you are following is very important while you do your work. Similarly, computational data also you could use. That means you can interpret the proper softwares and the representation could be done in a standard acceptable format. So the results what you're providing, it should be edited or coded, or you can even transcribe it, validate it. Once that is done, you can discuss the result, then arrive at a conclusion. So what you are concluding will play an important role, because while you're giving in the conclusion, the summary details, it is easier for the reader to read your work and arrive at a conclusion. So after all these experiments you have done and the results you have tabulated, from the results you have to discuss, that is the meticulous correlation of the data obtained with the existing data records, what you have collected the data. That is more important. If it is the efficacy of the flavonoids, polyphenols, triterpenes, antioxidants, then you can see against a particular disease. Similarly, for the nursing people, the food intake or the learners, slow learners, what are the difficulties in that? How did you overcome that? By giving the reading material, or you would have studied the intervention program. Similarly, in the case of the medical, the whatever compounds or the drug you had given against the disease, how far it has worked, do the enzyme analysis, and then from the book you can do the biochemistry if you are doing, you can do the cycle and then see what has happened when you are studying at each and every level, or either protein synthesis or carbohydrate or any other synthesis if you are taking, what has happened in the intermediary studies or in the intermediary metabolism also you can study. The results can be correlated with the similar compounds, whether they are possessing the antioxidant potential from other plant sources. So then after discussing, you can arrive at a conclusion. The summary and conclusion only should be to the point and clear projection of the study outcome, because any reader will read the conclusion and it will give us the important points in it. How you have taken the work, what is the result, how you have discussed that. So the summary part can be made in points, or even you can do it in a graphical representation. So this summary is nothing but the overall findings of the whole research work. The key points only will be given in the summary. If the study is of the first kind, then you can say earlier studies are not there, and you have to highlight that in what way your study is first of its kind. If any further trials or investigation is required, further studies has to be carried out and it has to be concluded. That has to be pointed out in your conclusion. So the conclusion is nothing but it is an answer for the question raised on the research problem, what is defined in the initially. And the overall findings, it can be represented by a schematic way for the better understanding of the readers. When I look into the schematic representation, I will know whether the work, the data, whether it is decreased the result or increased. Then I will look into the discussion, what the candidate has discussed, the reason giving for the positive or the negative results. It is an earlier, easiest way to understand the need of the study, the problem that as you have addressed already, the results what you have obtained, and the conclusion of the study in one image. I will look into the schematic representation and I can arrive at it very easily. And the foremost important one is very, very important or crucial in the research process is to be familiar with the term. Nowadays, it's called as the plagiarism, and people talk about plagiarism, and UGC has given to upload your thesis in Sodhganga, and the plagiarism should not exceed 10%. It is mandatory. So it's otherwise called as kidnapper in Latin. Plagiarism is the attempt to grab others' work, that is their idea, their words, their phrases, or paragraphs, and you write it as if you have done that in your own idea. So like that you should not do. In case if you are extracting it from other paper, you just give the author's name and the journal in which they have referred. That will be easier way to come out of the plagiarism. It is otherwise without giving proper credit to them by citing their work. Once you cite, it is not plagiarized. So in other terms, the plagiarism is the theft of others' intellectual property. You can even say cheating, or it may result even in cancellation of the work or degree awarded. So you have to be careful in writing a paper. See to it that it is around 90% unique, because certain things you would have taken from the other research papers. You have to mention the scientist's work that you have followed. Then the plagiarism will be minimized. And once your work is unique, I told you if it is of a different kind, then you go in for the patent. Patent, it is the kind of the intellectual property where the owners of the invention are given the legal rights to protect, take credit of their own because of that novel invention and the discovery. So any new inventions, when you are doing your work at each step, I told you, slight modification in the technique, that also you can say, this, that you can patent it. And patent is of plant patent, utility patent, design patent. Plant patent is a process or method, a novel compound synthesized with better efficacy than the existing compound, a new composition or a new research. So these are the materials that could be patented. Either the process while doing your experiment, that also you can patent. And from the plant, if you are able to extract anything new, or while performing the experiment, if you would have observed any new thing, that also could be patented. Or if you have added a new thing in your composition, that you can patent. All these are the things that you can patent, which is very important. Nowadays, NAC looks into it of any institute for patent and for copyright. So do your research with anything, if you are slightly with modifications, if you have done, immediately you go in for patent. Or if you have observed any novel compound also, see to it that you go in for patent, it belongs to you. What cannot be patented? Living beings, plant, animal, microorganisms, new form of known substances. For example, if metformin is used now in the treatment of colon and rectal cancer, if you say that it is a new work, but you cannot patent it because that drug already exists as metformin. So the names that are there already, that you cannot go for patent. Additive combination or the traditional knowledge or any of the business method or the mathematical methods, all these cannot be patented because already it exists. Even if you modify the names and the things will be there, it will be like a repetitive form. So you cannot patent that. And there are certain criteria for which you can go in for patents. It should be novelty, inventive step, industrial application. I told you, when you are doing your work, observe at each and every step. See to it whether you are able to find any new expression in that. And then you can go in for patent, which is very important. So what is copyright? The main purpose of copyright is to create original structure of the work. The copyright theory came into existence under Polish law of on 4th February 1994 on copyright and neighboring rights. So any original structure of your work, you can go in for the copyright. Or you can create that original structure of work, that is called as the copyright. Copyright is a system that will ensure an author's original work are protected from unauthorized use. No one else can touch that. Both published and unpublished work is granted copyright protection. Copyright is granted not only to artistic creations such as novel, music, multimedia and all, but also to technical writing, computer softwares and architecture. Other categories like any new novel idea or the concepts what you have arrived or what you have discovered and the methods of operations are protected under patent law rather than by copyright. So two are there. One is copyright, the other one is patent. So a detailed summary on the steps involved in the research work, process, everything I have presented. And in the form of publications, patent, copyrights are also highlighted with awareness about plagiarism. I thank the organizer for giving me an opportunity, and I thank all the listeners for your patient listening. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam. Very nice presentation. Excellent presentation. And also it is an exceptional presentation. We are so elated. And at the outset, your contributions to our MAHER University are unparalleled. The legacy of your vision guides a lot for us. Once again, on behalf of the university, the management, the Vice Chancellor and Registrar and other members of the teaching staff, we express our sincere thanks to you for your great, timely presentation. Once again, thank you very much, madam. And the audience, you please assemble again at 2 o'clock. Let us be in time.